going on, DJBooth.net? This is DJ Blaze, and I'm here in the lab to give you guys a full video review of the new Pioneer DJM-T1 Traktor Scratch Certified 2-channel professional DJ mixer. Check it out. Okay guys, so first up we're going to talk about the inputs and outputs. I think if I explain the inputs and outputs to you, you'll understand better what's going on with the actual mixer and the controls on top. So this is the back of the unit, and we're going to start with the power switch on and off, toggle switch, very heavy duty. Doesn't feel like something you can accidentally cut on and off. You really have to push it with meaning in order for it to react. You have your AC in, 120 volt, standard stuff here in the United States. There is a booth 1/4 inch output with a booth knob on top. There's a master XLR output along with a master 2 RCA output. Now these share a common volume control knob. Next up we have the USB port for your Traktor Scratch functionality. You have your channel 1 CD or phono inputs and a channel 2 CD or phono inputs as well. And we'll talk about the front of the unit next. And on the front of the unit, first thing we have here on the left is the 1/4 inch headphone output. And the headphone output is actually only in 1/4 inch. You don't have a mini connector here. There's no other connector here, so you'll have to find that 1/4 inch adapter that you've been stuffing away in your closet. Next up, you have your microphone combo input. This is either a 1/4 inch or an XLR. Then you have your aux RCA input. You can either use one or the other, either the microphone or your aux input on the front. There is a level control knob for either your mic or your aux, and then there's a 2-band low and high EQ as well. This is very useful, very nice to have for, you know, when you're in the situation of your Traktor or your laptop crapping out on you. At least you have a way to plug in another audio source with independent controls here in order to keep your show moving right along. Next up on the front, we also have your crossfader reverse control, meaning you can reverse the crossfader deck layout. And there's also a crossfader curve control, which allows you to be either on your sharpest setting or your steeper setting. That way you can have a nice smooth fade to your sound. And there's also a through function, meaning the fader has no bearing at all. Okay folks, so here it is. This is the Pioneer DJM-T1 Traktor Scratch Certified Digital DJ Mixer. And basically this is a Traktor Certified Mixer, which means the main selling point, the main feature on this mixer is going to be the internal sound card and the fact that it comes with Traktor Scratch Duo 2 and 2 control vinyl along with 2 control CDs. So what that will let you do, it'll allow you to connect 2 turntables with vinyl control records or 2 CDJs with CD timecode control, and that way you'll be able to manipulate and play your tracks back using your computer through Traktor. So basically this is the first impressions and setup. The first impressions, overall impressions of the Pioneer DJM-T1 are excellent. This is a very, very well made mixer, just like with the rest of the Pioneer mixer series. We had excellent sound quality throughout our whole test procedure. All of the knobs and buttons are very sturdy, very reinforced, and we'll get into the quality of all the faders and everything else as we touch on to the rest of the review. Everything is very heavyweight. It's one of the heavier 2-channel mixers that I've ever picked up. It's very nice and sturdy, and everything is just very sure-footed. Everything is planted well, and everything is built with very high quality. Next up, we'll head up to the setup. If you want to set this mixer up, basically you're going to need a computer. That way you can plug in your CD into the computer in order to set up your Traktor Scratch software. All you do is put the CD in, you set up all your software, and then you come back and plug the supplied USB cable up into your laptop or into your desktop, and then you're ready to roll. All you have to do then is plug in your 2 decks of control, either vinyl or CD, plug them into the inputs, and then put this onto USB if you want to play time code control, and you're pretty much ready to go. From there, you automatically already have all your presets and everything within Traktor, and you have various functions that you'll be able to use at your fingertips. It looks like there's a lot here, but once you just break it down section by section, it's not really that much to take in. So the setup was fairly easy. It's a plug and play right out of the box. Everything just works. It's easy to set up the CD on your computer. You didn't have to do anything really extra. Everything comes with the unit, including the software, including the time code control, and including the USB cable. Just plug in your power cord and route your speakers to the outputs, and you're ready to go. Next up, at the heart of any mixer, everybody's going to want to know about the fader, so we'll work our way from the faders out through the rest of the mixer, and we'll start with the crossfader. What we have here is a new Pioneer magnetic fader. Very, very nice for scratching. You can open this bad boy up and you can adjust the cut-in distance, but the cut-in distance right from the factory was very acceptable. Felt like it was under 1 millimeter. There's also a little feeling adjustment or tension adjust. You can stick the little flathead screwdriver in and you can adjust how loose or how tight you want the fader to be. Right from the factory, we kept it exactly as it is because we were able to do all of our scratches, all of our complex fast fader movements, and we really like that here on this mixer. You also have your crossfader controls, as we showed you in the inputs and outputs section in the beginning of the review. So you can reverse the crossfader, you can make it a through crossfader where the fader has no bearing, and then you're just going to use your line faders. You also have a crossfader reverse control here as well. Moving on to your channel 1 and channel 2 line faders, you have some very nice faders here. They're very sturdy and they have a nice tension to them, so you can adjust your mix very accurately. For those who like to mix more than scratch, they might want to use their line faders for those accurate mixes. And these line faders unfortunately do not come with a line fader adjustment to control the contour or to reverse them. And that's pretty much a shame because on a 2-channel mixer, the people who like to do scratching with the faders, me included, we like to have that option to adjust your faders. So next up from the actual faders, we'll work our way up to the Q buttons. There are Q buttons here, and there's headphone controls as well. The Q is what you want to cue up in your headphones, and the master is what is being played out in your speakers. And here is the curve control to either play what's in your Q or what's coming out of your master output. And then there's a line level knob here for that as well. If you hold down the shift key and you press your Q button, it turns into a tap feature where you can tap the BPM into the Traktor software more accurately than what Traktor has there. But Traktor does a very good job of mapping all your music and making sure you have a good beat grid for all of your tracks. Next up, as we move right along, you'll see we have the 3-band EQ. These have a nice rubberized feel to them. They're all metal post underneath. And you have the low, mid, and high, and they're all full EQ kill. And we have a trim, which also has a full kill gain knob at the top. And like I said before, we have the switchable inputs for the back. You can have 2 decks playing. You can have 2 decks plus your 2 CD decks and 2 virtual decks. And you can switch between them on the fly as you're playing through. Let's say you want 2 of your vinyl decks to play your DVS, to have your DVS software working, but you want to actually use your CDJs for playing regular music you have in your CDs or whatever you have on your USB thumb drives, however you play from those devices. You can easily switch through over to those devices on the fly. Next up, you'll see we have the LEDs for master and for the line level. Master LEDs are in the middle, and your line levels are channel 1 to the left and channel 2 to the right. Next up, we'll talk about the browse controls all the way at the top. These are the extra functions within Traktor, and this is one of the main reasons why you'll buy this mixer, because you want the extra functionality of Traktor built right into your mixer. So instead of purchasing an Traktor X1 or something of that nature, you have all of your things built in here in order to control your software just as you want. So first up we have the FX1, FX2 buttons, and these buttons are in order to turn on FX Bank 1 or turn on FX Bank 2, and each channel, each deck A or deck B, has their own FX options to select. So you can select them all to be on, all to be off, just FX1 on both, depending on any combination you want. There's also a feature here to play, pause, and cue your music independently of your time code control. So you don't have to necessarily have time code control to still use this mixer with your software. If you do not want to use time code control, you don't have to. You can just plug this mixer up just to your computer, and you can just DJ just with the mixer and the computer and the music that's on your computer device. You just press play and you cue it up as you want, and you use all of your internal tractor controls in order to change your pitch and everything else that you want to do in order to DJ with. So it's completely up to you if you want to use external decks or not. Next up we have the FX Bank 1, FX Bank 2, and these are where all of your FX are going to lie. You have, just like it shows on the tractor screen, you have your 4 knobs, the top knob being your wet and dry, and your extra 3 knobs being your selectable effects. Now right now we have selected in there the phaser pulse, the delay, and another phaser pulse. Change that to something else in a minute, but we can just mess around with the effects.
Remember them people, well, them same niggas walk around and be telling everybody I changed, nigga. I know that you only wanna fuck with me cause I hope you get it.
So basically you have all of your effects functions wrapped up right here on board, right where they need to be. They also have an LFO feature for each one of your effects, meaning you hold down your shift feature and you press the effect button, and LFO will do a randomization of your actual knob for your effect, turning it up and down to the BPM of the track. Next up we have loop controls, and everything that I'm going over here is ×2. It's on both sides. So you have your auto loop controls. That means when you're playing, you can just press the knob, the auto loop knob, and it will create the loop depending on the bar size that you have selected in Tractor. Very easy to set.
Well, the old me, cause the old me nigga was broke as shit. That's what you broke as shit. That's what you broke as shit.
We can cut it down.
Broke as shit. Broke as shit.
And we can get out of it.
That's what you want.
Nice and easy.
That's what you want. Just gonna.
You can also move the loop as we see fit, and that brings us down to your hot cue section. Each of your decks has 4 hot cues. Very easy to set. I already have one set in there.
I remember them streets. I remember them streets so well. Trees so well.
Then when you're ready to delete, you just hold shift and you get rid of them.
Them same niggas.
And these buttons also double as either a hot cue button. Easy to delete, you just press shift and then you press the number you want to delete. And there's also sample decks found here. So you have your 4 sample decks per side, which essentially is deck C and deck D. And you're able to control 4 different sample decks of the length of your choice. You use your actual auto loop button now becomes, when the sampler light is lit, this now becomes the controller for the length of your sample. So right now we got it set to 4 bars. And
walk around and be telling everybody I changed, nigga. I know that you only wanna fuck with me cause I hope
now we can play it back.
You say you want the old me, cause the old me nigga was broke as shit. Change, nigga. I know change, nigga. I know change, nigga. I know change, nigga. I change, nigga. I know.
And we can turn it off with the active button here, or we can delete it by holding down the shift key and pressing that sample. So you have 4 of those on one side and 4 of those on the other. Down here you have an active button. This will activate whether or not you hear your sample decks, and it also, when you press shift, it acts as a play mode. It either will play on a loop or it will be a one-shot play sample. Okay, next up, all the way at the top, we have the oversized browse knob that you can also press in order to see a bigger browse view. When you press it again, you're back to your normal view within Traktor. When you have your track selected, you can press A in order to load it into your deck A, or you can press B to load it into deck B. Alright, well, in conclusion, the Pioneer DJM-T1 2-channel tractor scratch mixer is an excellent package for those looking for that great Pioneer quality in build and sound, as well as using Traktor to control and to play your tracks. You have a whole lot of different functions here. You have your hot cues, your samples, your loops, all of your effects functions right here on board. You can even play, regardless of having time code tracks or not. You also have a very nice crossfader here with fully adjustable tension curve and lag, and it's magnetic, and it's one of the best that I've felt recently. Very, very good fader. Turntablists and scratch DJs are gonna love it. There's also an additional microphone and aux input on the bottom for those emergency situations where DJ's playing out and he needs to have an additional aux input just in case something goes wrong with your software or your computer. You can just plug in your iPod or your smartphone and you're ready to roll right there. On the negative side, there are no line, fader, curve, or reverse functions. The price is a bit steep. And I also had the minor gripe about not having another mini or 1/8" adapter for your headphones. You will have to find your 1/4" out of the closet and put it in order to use your headphones with this mixer. So for more on the full written review, you can check us out at www.djbooth.net/DJS. There you'll find all of our reviews. You'll also see the review link in the description of this video. You can also follow me on Twitter. That way you get all of your DJ news quick and first. And that is at DJBlaze_DJBooth. And keep subscribing to the YouTube channel. That way you know as soon as these new videos come out. And the username there is Real DJ Blaze. Thanks for watching.